Welcome back. In this video, we are going to implement the feature that you can see here, where you can see the images of the people who are assigned to a specific project card. All right, so here within the task list, we have those different cards. And then if we have another person assigned to the project except for the creator itself, then we will see the different people who are assigned to it, so the different users. All right, so let's implement this feature. In order to do that, we need to go to our task list activity because that's where the magic happens. That's where we are on that screen. So let's go over here, task list activity. And that is to, first of all, make this variable here. So our assigned member details a list, to make it public so that we can access it from multiple spots. And then we need to cut something out of the code, which means we need to go to our board detail function. So board details, where is it? It's further down here. All right. And there we need to cut a specific part of the code out. So here, this one, all the way down to the point where we start to show the progress dialog. All right. So from the setup action bar to the show progress dialog, let's cut this piece out and paste it to our board members details list function. So to this one here, just underneath hide progress dialog. Now the board, of course, will be the global board details variable. All right, so board details task list. Then the layout manager all stays the same. And of course here, when it comes to the task list, we also need to use mBoard details here instead, because board was a variable that was passed to the function. In this case, we get the board directly from the global variable that we created earlier on. So if you look at it, it's this one here, which is a board. All right, and now we will be able to use that in the card list items adapter. So we have this adapter here, card list items adapter, and now we can use that global variable that we just prepared, or the global variable that we made public now. We can use it in here inside of our onBind view holder. Just underneath this code here, we can go ahead and write some additional code. So we can check here if the context as a task list activity dot m assigned member details list. So now we use this global variable that we made public. Dot size is greater than 0. So let me put that into 2 lines so it's readable. Then we want to have an instance of the selected members. So val selected members list should be an array list of selected members, which is an array list for now. And now, just underneath it, we want to run a for loop where we check the I in context dot m assigned member details list dot indices with another for loop where j in model dot assigned to with the check where context dot m assigned members details list at the position I dot id equals j. So double equal sign j. And then what do we want to do for these cases? Well, we want to add them to our selected members list. All right, so val selected member is a selected members object which contains the context dot m assigned details member list I dot id and context dot m assigned members detail list I dot image. Okay, because that's the information that a selected members object needs. And then we can go ahead and add that to our selected members list. All right, so here add the selected members. Alright, now that we have added that, we can check if the list is empty or not. So if the selected members list is greater than 0, so its size is greater than 0, we know that we have selected members. And then we can check if the selected member list dot size is equal 1 and the selected members list creator is the person who is currently logged in, then we don't want to display it. Okay, so that's the idea. That's exactly what I told you as I tested the application. So here the ID at the first entry is model.createdBy. Then I want to make the recycler view gone. So holder.itemView.rv card selected members list.visibility view.gone. Okay, so what is the point behind this? Well, the idea is if you're the creator of this card here or of this whole board, then you don't need to see your image here all the time. It would be useless. You only want to see that if there are multiple people who are assigned to the project, or if it's a person who is not you. Okay, so at least that's the design, that philosophy that I have behind it. If you want to change that, you can of course change it and make it the way you want it. But for example here, if I get rid of this additional field and I am the only creator of this card, you can see it's not there. So the images are only there if it's not the creator itself who is assigned. Okay, so let's check that. And you can see the other person would then be visible, but the creator itself will not be visible. So you can see, okay, if you're not visible there, or if a card is in a way that you're not visible there, then it's someone else who is responsible. The idea really is that, for example, if you create those cards for yourself, you don't want to display all of these images because they would just add no value at all. They would just make the whole thing a lot bigger. Like the whole list would be a lot more clumsy and not as easy to use, so to speak. Okay, and in all other cases, we want to display this. Okay, so let's make it visible in those cases. So view dot visible. Okay, on top of that, what we want to do is we want to give this holder.itemView.rv card selected members list a layout manager. All right, so the layout manager that I want to use is a grid layout manager, which I need to pass in the context and the span count, which I'm gonna set to 4. So I just say, okay, due to the size of this image, I only want to be able to put 4 in here, not more than 4. Okay, so that's what I do with this span count. At least in one line, only 4 can be added. Okay, that's the idea here. Then we need an adapter. And which adapter should we use? Well, the card members list items adapter, which needs the context, and then the selected members list. And then also, let's look at it. We have no further information here. And what I would like to add here is a private val assign members set, or it should be a boolean, right? And while we are here, let's also check that when we are inside of our onBind view holder. So here I'm going to use it at the point where I check the position and the size. And here I also need to pass and assign members. All right, so then we can go back to our card list items adapter here. And now we need to pass in the information here as well. So do we want to assign members or not? And I'm gonna say false here. All right, so this is how the adapter is gonna look like. And now we can assign that adapter to the recycler view. All right, so here to this recycler view, we can assign the adapter, which will be the adapter that we just prepared. And now I'm going to add an onClick listener here as well. So adapter dot set onClick listener, which will be an object of card members list item adapter dot onClick listener. So of this interface there. All right, and now we need to, of course, implement it. So we need to have the onClick event here. So onClick, and not the listener, but the onClick event. So here onClick, override it. And we may not forget to close this here at the bottom. So this is our adapter set onClick listener. This is how it's looking. And then we can now go ahead and implement the onClick event. So what do we want to do here? Well, if there is an onClick listener, so if it's not null, then use the onClick listener dot onClick event with the position. And as the onClick listener is nullable, we need to add the 2 exclamation marks here. All right, so all of that should happen if the selected members list size is greater than 0. What should happen if it's not greater than 0? So here towards the bottom, well, then I want to have an else block here, which uses our recycler views list here and makes it invisible. So visibility set to view.gone. Alrighty. So at this point we can test our application and see if it's actually visible in our app as well. And now, of course, as we have changed our card member list items adapter in our card details activity, we get this error here because I didn't pass the boolean here that we have added, which is inside of our setup selected members list function. And here in this case, we assign true. Because if we are in the card details activity, what we want to have as the card members list items adapters assign members value is true. Because if you look at it, you only want to see IV add member, this image, if there are any members to add. Because if there is no one in the list, right, except for you, the creator, then there's no reason to add someone to the list at that point. So you need to have multiple people assigned to the board for this to make sense. Okay, or for this to make sense to make this appear, this IV add member, which is just a little plus icon there. All right, now let's test our application. So let's go over to our board with image. Okay, so here you can see nothing. That's because only we are assigned to the card. Let's assign someone else to the card. There we are. Now we can see both. Now let's get rid of ourselves from the card. And we can see the other person is still visible, which is Bart in this case. And now the final case where, well, we saw all 3 cases already, right? So let's get rid of Bart and just have us there, and we will see that the image disappears as well. All right, so this works as intended. Great. So I'd say this is a great moment to have another pause, and let's go ahead with more features in the next video.